Why draw a circle for the ants? The ants cannot get out. It turns out that the ants cannot escape from the circle, mainly because the ants usually rely on the taste to identify the direction. We usually use the ballpoint pen to draw out the circle with a certain taste, so this will disturb the ants' sense of smell. They will think that the front cannot pass, so they will change direction and look for a new place to break through. So they will always turn around inside and never come out. Follow me next issue to bring you more interesting science knowledge.
Facts that will mess with your perception of time. The Lion King was released closer in time to the moon landing than today. Any American that is 81 years old has lived through more than 1/3 of the USA's entire existence. If you lived to be 100 years old, you would have to live that same life 50 million times before the sun would stop shining. The first train was invented before the first bicycle. If you were to count to 1,000,000 at the rate of one number per second, it would take about 11 days. Counting to 1,000,000,000 would take you 32 years. Counting to 1,000,000,000,000 would take more than 31,709 years. In 1958, a 96-year-old man went on a game show called I've Got a Secret. A panel of contestants would have to ask questions to try and figure out what this man's secret was. His secret was that he witnessed the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. Follow for more.
This is not magic. This is a real science experiment. Shake the Coke crazily. Put it in the freezer for 2 hours while he's not looking. Give it a little touch. The Coke will suddenly freeze. No ice machine. And you can make a nice Coke smoothie. Add water to the cup. The character turns around. This is the principle of light refraction. Drop the alcohol on the string of the bottle. Fire the rope. Wait for it to go out. And throw it into cold water. You can cut glass bottles with your bare hands. Put a pencil lead on the battery. Put a match on it. The match had spontaneously ignited. Fill the bottle with water. Put a ping pong ball in the bottle. Inverted ping pong balls never fall. This is the force of atmospheric pressure. You don't have to use your hands. Use the eccentricity. You can transfer the ping pong ball to another cup. Add white sugar to the water. Stir well. Pigments dissolve quickly in clean water. It's insoluble in sugar water. This is the saturation of the solution. Slip the paper into the cup, upside down in the water. Under the combined action of atmospheric pressure and buoyancy, the paper remains dry 100 times. Let's take the kids and do the experiment.
Though the two countries border each other, you cannot sail in a straight line from Italy to Vatican City. The US has more Englands than the UK. New Zealand is actually very far away from Austria. If you were to drop France on top of Wyoming, at least 7 people would die. Switzerland, despite dividing itself into cantons, does not speak Cantonese. Brazil is closer to South Africa than it is to Lesotho. The population of Turkey is larger than Dominica, Grenada, Nauru, Vanuatu, Germany, and Monaco combined. If Chile were rolled up into a ball, that would make the evening news, as countries aren't typically known to do that. And finally, if India didn't exist, you could sail in a straight line from Mozambique all the way to Madagascar.
Common lies you still believe. You may think you can pull a pin from a grenade using your teeth. If you did this in real life, you would lose your teeth, and the pin would still be in the grenade. People think trees produce most of the oxygen in the world, but oceans produce more oxygen than all of the trees combined. Many think gravity is the same all over the world, but in some parts of Canada there is less gravity than the rest of the world. Many believe that dogs see in black and white, but that's not true. Your dog can actually see colors. Many people believe we swallow 8 spiders in our sleep every year, but thankfully this is just a myth. In reality, it's probably 0.
Pour Coke into the bowl. Squeeze in a little toothpaste. Add the baking soda. Stir and mix. Put into microwave oven for heating. Take it out in a minute. A fun and moving magnetic fluid will be ready. Isn't that amazing? Like a bottle filled with water dripping in hand sanitizer. Rub the bottle back and forth with the lemon. Add some white sugar. Cover the bottle with your hand and turn it upside down. The water was sealed in the bottle. Make a circle of steel wool. Put your phone in the middle. Make a phone call. The steel wool sparkled in an instant. This is the radiation of cell phone calls. Add hydrogen peroxide to the cup. Citric acid. Iodophores. Shake and pour out the mixture. Click on the white paper with your hand. Buckle the cup on top. Your fingerprints will show up slowly. Wrap a few loops of cotton wool around the body of the glass bottle. Wet the cotton thread with alcohol. Light up the cotton thread. After waiting for extinction, Quickly put into cold water. Let stand for a few seconds. You'll be able to cut glass bottles easily. Squeeze in a dish with hand sanitizer. Bake it with a lighter. Put a match. The match had spontaneously ignited. Isn't that amazing? In accordance with the dimensions shown on this drawing, cut out 4 identical pieces of plastic. Use tape to join them together. Put it on your phone and play 3D video. You built a naked eye 3D holographic projector. Let's make one for the kids. Hold a few pieces of paper between 2 magnets. Put a screw and a battery. When connecting the positive pole and the magnet to form a loop, the paper was spinning at a great speed. This is how an electric fan works. All children who love to think are wise, and the children who love science grow up to be even worse.
What about a billion? This is a bit more serious. That's 10 to the 9th power. 7.5 billion people live on Earth today. On average, the human brain contains about 100 billion neurons. For $1 billion, you can buy a luxury cruise ship. But it's unlikely anyone could count to 1 billion. That's almost 32 years. Now, 10 to the 12th power is a trillion. 3.5 trillion fish inhabit our oceans. 1 trillion bacteria take up no more space than 1 cube of sugar. 1 trillion seconds is approximately 32,000 years. That is, 1 trillion seconds ago, in some places on our planet, the last Neanderthals still walked the Earth. In total, every printed book in history together contain about 100 trillion letters. A quadrillion is 10 to the 15th power. A 1 with 15 zeros. This is so large that I had to search a bit to find an example. It's believed that about 1 quadrillion ants live on our planet, although I doubt that anyone's conducted a census. Once, American Chris Reynolds was mistakenly credited $92 quadrillion to his account. This made him the richest man in the world, though not for long. And in another 200 quadrillion seconds, our sun will have become a red giant. 10 to the 18th power is a quintillion.
The tallest building on Earth, the Burj Khalifa, might not keep its title, as there are projects around the world that want to dethrone it, such as this 1-kilometer-high building currently planned in Egypt. You can tell by its shape that they are referencing the pharaonic obelisk here. There's also the Jeddah Tower planned in Saudi Arabia, which was actually designed by the same architect who built the Burj Khalifa. And there have been these proposals made in Kuwait and Azerbaijan. One thing you can tell is that with these super tall skyscrapers, architects are planning them kind of like a bunch of different buildings that are just merged together. But these 2 projects were eventually scrapped, so they won't steal the title. There's also an even higher tower planned in Dubai, which would mean that the city could keep its title. The only issue here is that this construction is not really considered a building, because most of its height is not made off of usable floors. Still, it could become the tallest construction in the world. And then finally there's this crazy proposal, the Sky Mile Tower in Tokyo, more than 1 mile tall, designed with slots that allow wind to pass through. But what do you think? Do any of these projects have a chance of actually becoming reality? If so, that would mean that
This video will show you just how remarkable your eyes truly are. So here's a black and white photo that I took while I was on my trip to Ethiopia. Now I'm gonna try and make you see it in full color by showing you this false color image. All you have to do is stare at the white dot in the center of the screen for 20 seconds. Try not to blink, just keep your eyes focused. We're trying to adjust the sensitivity of the light receptors in your eyes to the different colors of the image. After the 20 seconds are up, I'll show you the black and white photo again, and I want you to keep focusing on that white dot. Hopefully you see the photo in full color. Ready? Okay, let's switch to black and white. Did you see the photo in full color? The effect will likely break as soon as you move your eyes away from the white dot. Let me know if you see it.
Know that the Apple iPhone is the second best-selling product of all time after the Rubik's Cube, which actually has 43 quintillion, 252 quadrillion, 3 trillion, 274 billion, 489,856,000 possible configurations. Much like a deck of cards, which when shuffled will result in a configuration that has never existed ever before. How can this be? The simple mathematical calculation shows that the possible arrangements of a deck of cards results are monumental. Or how about the fact that oxygen is required for combustion and hydrogen is flammable gas, but together they make water, which puts fire out? Before